Hey, everybody. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Sorry if you can hear all that noise in the background. It just stopped. That's nice. It's somebody doing yard work. I don't know. I can't figure out when yard work is supposed to. I think our people are here Friday, but then they have our neighborhood has a crew.
Yeah, we got everybody in God out there mowing.
Everybody's mowing. Who the hell is that?
No, that's the neighbor.
Oh, the neighbor's mowing.
Yeah, that's private. That's him out there with the lawnmower.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and this the windows is right there. It's just he's mowing right there. The thing. But yeah, so anyway, it's Monday. We just decided to do a little sidetrack show. Didn't have anything particular to talk about because we were actually going to watch a new movie last night to review, but then we didn't end up. I was too tired to watch anything new. We ended up watching an old one, which I'm not going to spoil. That'll be the movie retrospective this week. We did actually start watching the first episode. Hi, Pookie.
Cat busts in.
She's like,
Pookie just throws the door up.
Why are you guys in here closing on the door? You can't do that. We did actually start watching the first episode of a series last night. I guess it just went up, but I think it was number 10, on Netflix, in the US or whatever. And it was called, what was it called? Southern Survival?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
It was kind of like Mythbusters, but like a redneck style.
Like Mythbusters meets Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
Or something that.
What they were doing is they have some kind of a, I guess it's an online store. It's probably
I think it's called BattleBox.
BattleBox, and they test all these fucking survivalist products. Yeah, and then they take the best ones and they put them in their store. And the first episode was about fire. They were looking for shit that makes fire and fire retardant stuff. They had a flamethrower and they were fucking shooting different kinds of clothing to see what would catch on fire. It was. I thought it was going to be better than it was.
I did too. It wasn't I think the thing about it, and I think this is something that why Mythbusters was so beloved and why I tried to kind of rip off that formula and were not successful. I think the whole thing about Mythbusters was that, the two guys were, the chemistry between them was so good. And then they had those three other people. So they kind of went back and forth. There was a lot of, there was kind of a lot of variety in the show. This one, I feel like it's not so much, it's not bad. It's just that I don't the dudes at the center of it are not all that charismatic.
No. And
you can tell that they're kind of trying to be funny and it's not
and another thing
all that funny.
Another thing is that there wasn't anything really particularly redneck about them.
That's true.
I know a lot fucking worse than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mississippi, I know some guys that could really do that. But they were I wouldn't call them fake rednecks. It's just that they weren't the old school ones.
Yeah.
They were they grew up with internet.
Yeah.
That's not really, that doesn't count. You can't have internet.
You can't have internet.
Fuck no. Real rednecks don't have internet.
I mean, in the sense that rednecks do like to blow shit up. I mean, everyone knows that. But I do feel the whole thing about the thing behind the show, though, is that this is their business. Like I said, it's kind of like Duck Dynasty in that way, where it's just their business is to, test, I guess, survival type products. And so they just kind of built a show around that, which, that could work. I enjoy watching people blow stuff up as much as the next person. But I don't know, maybe it'll get better because we only watched the first one and it was only half an hour and I was just kind of And
I don't think it's going to be.
And then
much
Tom's
better.
No, I'm going to go play a video game.
Yeah, I went to go play Doom.
And I started watching Dark again. So you know what I mean?
It was the cast. I mean,
yeah, like I said, they seem like nice dudes, but they didn't seem all that compelling.
No. Well, first of all, they weren't very physically fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're trying to test these products. They were just kind of
Although I did kind of laugh at that dude trying to climb out of the fire, the firefighter tower, with
they
the
couldn't
ladder.
Repel. They couldn't do anything.
He's falling. He's this big fat guy.
They couldn't repel. They couldn't do anything. They didn't seem to have any true survival skills, or any kind of military background or even woodsman or huntsman backgrounds. They were just guys.
Maybe in that way, that's kind of they're appealing to their customer base because maybe that's who their customer base is kind of out of shape dudes that just want something that'll help them if they're somehow trapped out of the woods and they don't, or if they're in a burning building or something. But I was I think if they're in a burning building, they're going to be in big trouble because they can barely get out.
I just don't think that. I just don't see that as a real shit. If you ask me, I mean, I was growing up around like my dad's friends, and my dad's friends, not so much my dad, but my dad's friends, some of those dudes were like fucking Daryl and Merle Dixon. They're like that.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking dudes that tried to make a living, they've been making a living trapping shit, living in a house that they've been living in for like 3 generations. It looks like it's covered in mold and shit on the outside.
Looks like the Leatherface.
Looks like the Leatherface fucking.
Or maybe the Jason Voorhees residence.
Yeah, they're living in that.
Worse.
They're living
the
in
Leatherface represented, at least that was a real house. It wasn't like just a show.
Yeah. And they don't want jobs. You know what I mean? They just don't want them. Fucking
they just
but they can do everything. They kind of live off the land and live off working for other people, fixing motorboats, fixing outboard motors, fucking, you know what I mean, shade tree mechanic stuff. That's how they would make their living. They didn't want to working for somebody else, boss and shit. No, they didn't play that.
No one's bossing me.
No. But they grew up in the area, so everybody knew them, so they were constantly getting jobs.
Yeah.
Here, man, fix this. Here, do this. Hey, go help me build this, and they show up, you know.
Yeah.
But they didn't need paychecks and jobs and shit.
I will
they
say
considered that for pussies.
Yeah.
It was like the pussies, you know.
I will say that one thing that about this show was that I will say that the matches they tested, like those really good matches, those were kick ass. I didn't know that they had those. They will not go out. They're big, like they're big matches.
Yeah, there's a match about that long, and you could strike it. And I guess it was made out of phosphorus. It would burn underwater.
Yeah, underwater. And they did like wind. They did like the fucking, the fire extinguisher on it.
I was looking at that. I was going like, yeah, I'd buy like a pack of 500 of those and bundle those all together inside.
That's what I'm saying. I'm see
inside
those
a PVC pipe and put
those are super useful.
Fucking have a fucking ready-made incendiary to fucking grenade. Throw that through somebody's window. You'll never put that shit out.
I don't know why you would do that, but okay. No,
I'm just saying. I saw that and it says I could weaponize that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I could weaponize that if I wanted.
I was just saying that it seemed really useful, like if you were going camping or something like that. Because if they got wet, or if it was wind in or rain or something like that, and they
that's kind of a fallacy, though. You know, like you can't start a fire when it's raining because all the fucking
because all the wood's
wet.
Yeah,
and only a pussy's gonna need a fire anyway. Fucking, I'd live for fucking weeks without fire. Think about it. Out in the field, fucking with fire, you're without fire. You know, we couldn't have fire all the time. We could sometimes when we were in the army, but a lot of times it was those little chemical heaters that we cooked MREs in.
Yeah.
You don't really need fire though.
Yeah.
Not all, unless you've got raw meat you have to cook.
Well, yeah, that's what.
But other than that, you don't really need it.
Or unless it's like.
But you can just wait for the rain to stop.
Yeah.
You know, it's not normal living where you have to have 3 squares a day. You just wait. Just sleep.
You're not going to starve.
You're not going to starve. You just sleep until the rain passes.
I mean, look at those people on Naked and Afraid. They're on there for like 3 weeks without eating anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they lose a bunch of weight, but then
that's the name of the game.
They don't die or nothing.
No.
Yeah, but so I'm just saying those matches were neat and they seem like they're really useful. The other stuff, not so much. Just the other thing that they had was like something if you were trapped in a burning building. I guess it was like a little breather thing, and it had like a fucking flashlight on it or something.
Yeah, it's like a thing you put in your mouth for boxing, like something
like a mouth guard type of thing. But it was like tubular.
Yeah, but it's like a tube that came out of that, and then it went to a filter. You could keep it by the bed, so if the house ever got filled with smoke from a fire, you could put it in your mouth like a gas mask, but no mask, just a filter in your mouth. Yeah, which that'd be good enough to get out of the house.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
blind though.
Yeah, it wasn't like long-term oxygen. It was only like supposed to be long enough to get you out of the house, and it had like a light on it so you could like see through the shit.
Yeah, the filter was probably a little bit bigger than a D-cell battery.
Yeah,
so it'd probably clog up pretty quick, but it'd be enough to get you out of the house.
That's what I was thinking. It's like you probably only have like a few minutes but I guess that'd be better than nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we only watched one episode of that, and like I said, I was like, man, I don't know, I just couldn't get into it, and
Nico says he's drunk as hell. He's drunk as hell, and we pop up in his feed. Says it's the best day ever.
I'm drunk as hell, and you pop up.
No, they didn't blow up car batteries yet.
No, they blew up They blew up a bunch of stuff. Mannequins, like I said, they're kind of taking their cue from Mythbusters.
They're asking if we saw the Ju-on series. We just saw that it was up there.
I'm actually that's might be one of the next ones I watch because I kind of wanted to review that. Because I did like the Ju-on movies. I even liked the American remake. It was okay. I didn't we see, wasn't there a new movie that was like a remake or something. It's just like, I can't even remember. It was like a few months ago. We saw it in the theater. I think it was like Juon or something. And it wasn't good.
Somebody named Fourth Drawer Doom.
Down.
Fourth Drawer Down is asking if we've ever seen the breather device that goes down the toilet.
I have never seen that. No.
Why the hell would you need to breathe down the toilet?
In case you're going spelunking down the toilet. I don't know.
That way you can breathe through the toilet if the house gets on fire. You can listen, we got to make it to the bathroom so we can catch a breath.
I never thought that I would ever hear the sentence, "We're going to breathe through the toilet."
Yeah.
There's another shirt. Let's breathe through the toilet. I don't know, man.
You're going to need some breath mints after that one.
Yeah, I guess so. So you get some Altoid.
Get some nasty ass respiratory infections. Breathing in all that shit dust from the toilet.
Shit dust, E. coli.
From the toilet.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely do want to watch the Juon series next. Like I said, I'm trying to get through season 1 and 2 of Dark again so I can watch season 3, like the new one. But before I went to the Wikipedia page today and I'm like, no, I can't, because I didn't want to see what happened. I'm still on season 1 because, like I said, season 1 is like the longest. It's like 8 episodes, but then like 2 and 3, I think, are only 4 episodes each, because I think they're like an hour long, right? And I only just got to the part in the first season, again, where, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, where Jonas finds out that Mikkel, the kid that disappeared in his timeline, went back to 1985 and is actually his own dad. And I had totally forgotten about that because I saw it a long time ago and I only remembered like the bare outlines of like the 33-year cycle and all of that. And I had totally forgotten about that revelation. And like when I saw it again last night, I was like, whoa, I forgot all about that. That the kid went back in time and that he was that kid's dad. Oh, it's like fucking crazy. It's funny because I went to the Wikipedia page and somebody has made, like, not only do they have a list of like all of the families and who's related to who and everything, because it's like 4 different interlocking families and people. Somebody also made this big like chart of like all the interlocking timelines of like all the shit. And I'm like, holy crap, somebody really went hardcore with this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Speaking of rednecks and shit from that program. Oh, bless you, Pookie.
I got some Mississippi news today.
You got Mississippi news?
I got Mississippi news. They're changing the Mississippi state flag. They haven't decided what it's going to be, but it's going to say "In God We Trust" on it. And they're the little state representatives in there are going to come up with a new pattern, because the Mississippi flag, state flag, since the Civil War, was like a mixture of the Confederate flag and the fucking battle flag together. It had the battle flag on it. A lot of people see that battle flag and call it the Confederate flag. That is not the Confederate flag. That was a battle flag of one of the armies, one of the Confederate armies, one with the X with the stars in it. That is not the Confederate flag. Yeah. That's a battle flag. Anyway, that was on it. So they're going to change the flag because they said that, times have changed, type of deal. Yeah. So just saying they're also going to change the way Mississippi was organized. Mississippi kind of had, what do you call them? Electoral votes. Like each county had its own amount of electoral votes, and then together decided who won an election inside the state. So they're changing it down to a popular vote from inside the state. Yeah. Because it didn't make any damn sense, because the populations have all moved around. Right. And it had to do with after Construction, because immediately a race war broke out as soon as the fucking Reconstruction happened. And of course, white people were the minority. So you needed that damn electoral system to fucking make sure that the slaves didn't get in charge and fucking kill all the white people or whatever. That's what they were afraid of. But they used that to dominate the states for a while until fucking white people's population sprung back, because they'd all fucking been killed in those damn concentration camps. You hear about that? No. Yeah, most of those guys got captured, died in concentration camps. A lot of those Confederate soldiers, they got captured. They didn't get released. They kept them until they died, a lot of them. But they died of fucking, and this was during the war too, They were dying of fucking diseases because they were just stacking them one on top of the other. Anyway, that's they're doing that. They got that done. So I'm just waiting to see what the Mississippi flag is going to be. It's going to say "In God We Trust" on it, though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Florida flag says that. Or something of ours says that. I can't even remember now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I was laughing at that comment. That's how America got COVID-19, breathing through the toilet.
Yeah.
Is that what we did? God damn it. It wouldn't surprise me if you had to tell people not to do that. But yeah, so what else are we gonna I have to say that speaking of, well, it's not really speaking of anything, but speaking of cooking and food, you made a very lovely shrimp masala today.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. Probably be better tomorrow.
Mango Badgers asked me how they could change that flag. I actually, look, man, what they said, it makes a lot of sense, really. The state flags can change quite often. They usually reflect the situation and the population of the times. Originally, that wasn't Mississippi's flag. That was after the war. Now, they also said, though, that they weren't going to remove Confederate statues. They said, because that's the history. They said that was from the past. Now, some of them will probably go into museums anyway. But, man, it was growing up part of the time in Mississippi, it was a fucking weird place. Mississippi had a lot in common with North Korea. North Korea was a fucking traumatized population by the Korean War. When they got done, they just became very insular. When the war was over, North Korea, of course, became very insular. And all they did is sit around and build monuments. The South kind of did that. The South sat around building monuments as like fuck yous to the North. It really didn't have anything to do with black people. It had to do with they did not like fucking the North at all. So every time they put up one of those Confederate monuments, it was basically kind of like, you're not the boss of me. That was the mentality. Now, this wasn't even my grandparents' generations. It was, although that generation did a lot of it, it'd be like my great-grandparents' generation.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much. That did most of that. Most of those people on them damn Confederate statues, the average person doesn't even know who they are. They're just some dude. You know, you might know who.
Statue of some dude.
Statue of some dude. Yeah. Well, a lot of times it was some dude that was local.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wasn't really famous outside that little town. Heidelberg has a Confederate statue in it. And it's the fucking funniest thing in the world because that was basically a little village. And they must have pulled $20,000-$30,000 together to put that damn monument up there fucking 80 years ago. And that was a lot of money back then. And nobody hardly ever sees it. It's probably about 30 feet tall.
You think the money would have been better spent?
That's
elsewhere.
not the mentality. They had a fuck you mentality. They felt that that they didn't have an identity, and they needed to fucking make a monument to somebody they knew who died in that war or did something in that war. And that's just it was like a thing of defiance more than anything else. Yeah. It was just a defiance. And it was defiance against people in the North that hated them because they were always kind of hated. They always, you know, and they were weird, you know what I mean? They were weird people. I remember them. Like our grandparents was kind of like the last of them. Like I remember my grandmother, you know, if anything was from outside Mississippi, then damn, it was fucking wrong. You know what I mean?
Them foreigners.
Yeah. Even
from outside Mississippi.
Yeah, from outside Mississippi. You're like, she's from where? She's from Alabama? Son, that's damn near a Yankee. That's Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long, far away. They like Yankees in Alabama. Just be like that.
Yeah, my grandparents said
Tennessee.
Like
She's from Tennessee.
And my grandparents were from Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Man, them's Yankees. Way up north. Fucking funny, man.
It is very funny.
Yeah, and they weren't dumb. A lot of people think they were dumb. They were not dumb. They were just low information.
Yeah.
And didn't give a fuck. They could do math in their head and do all kinds of fucking shit, but if I spoke Portuguese around my fucking grandmother one time, her just fucking jaw just dropped open. You can speak that? I said, yeah. You know, I lived in Brazil. You know, she knew I lived in Brazil. I didn't know you could really speak that. I said, yeah. She goes, I'm not sure you should be speaking that.
What did she think was going to happen?
I might become a Brazilian.
What, you might spontaneously, like your skin might get darker or something?
Might just become a Brazilian all of a sudden.
That is very funny.
It might impurify me.
Okay.
Yeah,
like speaking another language.
Yeah.
That is very funny.
Yeah, it might be a disrespect to my ancestors. This is
They're
not
gonna come back and haunt you.
Yeah, this is not unusual, you know. South Koreans were like that. South Koreans were like that too. They'd love you, you know what I mean? But they wouldn't marry you. Like, they couldn't bring you home to mama.
They love you from like arm's length.
Yeah. Yeah. Koreans are the same way.
Yeah.
Koreans are like Southerners.
Yeah.
North Koreans are even worse.
Well, that's like you said, it's a very insular culture.
Insular traumatized culture.
It's, you know, it's not as like that as much anymore because like I said, of the internet and everything like that. And like you said, it had started to break down even before that, like with MTV.
Yeah.
When everybody started getting cable TV.
Well, my dad wasn't like that, but his parents were like that. My dad wasn't as much, but about half of his friends were. Yeah. It was just changing, you know. Yeah. The
hell is that? Is that rain?
Rain.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. Oh, Florida.
Yeah. Let's see what everybody's saying.
Yeah. Glad you're still doing shows. We always do shows. I try to put up something every day, whether it's, you know, we don't always have time to like watch new movies because I like to like review new movies.
I'm going to get a Brazilian wax.
Get a Brazilian wax. Yeah, Sandra said earlier that she checked. I was pretty sure the Florida flag did have "In God We Trust" on it, and indeed it does.
Ronnie Richardson says, as a black man from the South, North Carolina, those statues don't bother me. A lot of those statues in rap, they didn't have anything to do with black people. They weren't insulting to black people. They were insulting to white Northerners. That was a big fuck you to those people. They didn't like them. It was inter-white boy fucking rivalry.
White boy bitchery.
It was white boy bitchery.
This is very common.
South had gotten its ass kicked, and it for generations it just didn't forgive. It just didn't forgive the North.
Well, yeah, like I said, my dad was still talking about that shit, and my dad was born in the 50s.
My grandmother hated Northerners. Yeah, hated them. It was like they were they were an invading fucking army of foreigners. That's exactly as they. Yeah, that's how she saw them. Very much, probably based on what I have read, probably kind of like the way the Irish felt about the English. Yeah. Probably a lot like that. Maybe worse. I don't know. You live there.
Yeah. The Irish and the English really don't like each other. The Welsh and the English really don't like each other either.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of like, not so much, I don't know. I don't think when I was over there, I never got a real, you know, it was mostly just kind of a teasing sort of thing. Like English people would call the Welsh like sheep shaggers and like, you know, like they were kind of backward. But like younger people I knew didn't really have that attitude. It was just like over here. It was mostly like an older people thing.
Yeah. Civil War didn't destroy the South. It didn't conquer the South. What destroyed the South was
Thank you, Nico.
What destroyed the South was MTV. Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as everybody in the South saw Duran Duran and stuff like that, shit. We're like, yeah, we want to do that. We don't want to live in these fucking levels.
Yeah, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
We're gonna get the fuck out of here.
They saw Duran Duran. They saw Prince. They saw fucking who else? U2, Culture Club. And Southern culture couldn't compete with that.
Well, yeah.
No,
it wasn't glamorous.
No.
Growing up in the South, it wasn't glamorous.
No.
Living in the trailer park.
Yeah.
And having like shoes from Kmart and whatnot.
That was you.
Well, yeah, that was me. That's why I said it. That was you. Okay. My Kmart shoes. Billy Idol.
Yeah. Fucking right.
Somebody's
Billy Idol. So I saw Billy Idol and I was looking, there you go.
Yeah.
He kind of had an Elvis quality to him, you know. He was recognizing Elvis and shit. So I kind of saw him as like the punk rock Elvis. Even though he was British. Yeah. But like, you know, he was taking it he modernized it. He modernized it. You know, it was kind of like that rebel mentality. Yeah. Yeah. It
was always kind of interesting to me how a lot of punk and post-punk bands and artists, particularly from Britain and Australia, really dug like a lot of stuff from the American South, like old country and stuff like. I mean, look at fucking Nick Cave for Christ's sake. He just loved like all the old like Mississippi Delta blues and all that kind of stuff.
Billy Idol loved Elvis.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Elvis. So and it's just kind of interesting, and it was interesting to see their like interpretation of it.
Yeah, he got it right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I never got like
that's what it was.
I never got the vibe that anybody was like kind of faking it or anything.
No.
Although I will say, and I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about. Do you remember there was like for some time, like particularly during the new wave period with all the British bands and everything, probably like the early 80s, like 82 or something. There was kind of a thing in the UK of like white boy soul. You know what I mean? Where you had like bands like ABC and like the Blow Monkeys and stuff like that.
Never gonna hurt you up, never gonna get Rickrolling motherfuckers. That shit was funny.
I
like that song. I didn't know that was a white dude singing that.
No, I don't think anybody did.
And then I saw a video and I says, wait a minute. A little white boy he looked like a little boy. He didn't even look like a grown man.
Yeah, he was real baby face.
Yeah.
And he was a ginger.
And I was like, I was expecting a black dude. Rick Astley.
Well, that was like that was a joke even at the time. Yeah. Like, because I think some people heard the song on the radio. Barry White, some people heard the song on the radio first, and then you saw the video, and you're like, "Wait,
I was expecting Isaac Hayes."
How did that voice come out of that body?
Yeah,
and then for a while, like, I don't know if anybody ever speculated that it was like a Milli Vanilli situation, where
it wasn't though.
No, it wasn't. No, like that was that actual dude's voice. It was just like really funny that nobody expected
little British kid,
this little pale ginger kid from the UK, like had a voice like that. It was like really amazing. It's kind of sad. I mean, I guess it's not really sad because like people still know who he is, like all these many years later. But I feel like that was kind of like what his only hit. I mean, he had a couple other hits too, like. I don't remember them, but I mean, I remember him having more than one. Probably in the UK, he had a lot more because I think that happened a lot back then. But yeah, I do feel like there was kind of a time period in there where there was just kind of like this really white, like kind of all these white British bands that were doing like that sort of like soul, like R&B type of thing, like with all the saxophones and everything. And for some reason, I was thinking about that the other day, I guess, because I heard a song that reminded me of that ABC song that I can't remember the name of right now, but I don't know why I was thinking of that. Yeah. Paul Young. I remember Paul Young. Yeah.
Yeah, Mango. I don't believe in tearing down any statues. I don't believe in tearing them down. Now, I believe in putting statues up. Well, and you could relocate them, but I don't believe in destroying them. And if a lot of those statues, a lot of the stuff that a lot of, especially in the South, is kind of just irrelevant. It's not really relevant to the modern era. And like you look at it and you don't really know who that is. So I don't think, the people that put it up are long dead. Yeah. It doesn't mean you should destroy it, but I don't see anything wrong with maybe like moving it to a different part of town. If it's kind of a meaningless statue, it's not that big. And for some reason it's in the center of the town and the new inhabitants are like, what the fuck is this? Why not move it over or move it somewhere else and put something that they like there? I believe in adding statues. Yeah. Don't destroy the old ones. I mean, some of those things that's works of art. It's art. I don't believe in destroying any art. Now, some people would be like, well, that's like Nazi stuff. I don't even really believe in destroying that Nazi art. I know some of it shit was huge and they just had to get rid of it. So
because nobody had room for it.
Nobody had room for the shit. I can understand that. But I didn't believe in fucking purging out all that stuff. That stuff all belonged in museums, Well, in a way, having it in a museum, at least people can go and they can remember, what that was like. And it's like, hey, let's not do that. Yeah, and they were. Well, I'll look at it this way: they're getting emotional, all right, and they're destroying something that's not old. It's only a few years old, and they're getting emotional about it. But one day that shit will be old. Imagine if you had statues, original statues of Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun. Those weren't good guys, but damn, a statue of them would be worth a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, just because it was so long ago that none of them would have survived. Yeah,
and it's the same thing with Roman emperors. Most of those Roman emperors, their statues don't exist anymore. We don't know what they look like.
Yeah,
and some of those Roman statues, we had them for fucking centuries before we figured out who they were. So I don't believe in destroying any statues because over time, everything becomes valuable.
Yeah, if someone made it, sure.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in destroying anything. Maybe moving it, but not destroying it.
Yeah, I would rather they just, they could just move it.
Move it or make another statue.
Or put it in a museum somewhere or put it in a collection or something. Yeah, Blue Eyed Soul, In Excess did it too. Yeah, that's right, they did. For some reason, I was like thinking of, I don't know why I was thinking of ABC, for Christ's sake. but that was just what occurred to me. And then I was thinking of that. Remember that song by the Blow Monkeys, "Digging Your Scene"? They used to play it at iBar sometimes. I think that came out in '86. And I remember that guy. He had like a real sharp suit and everything like that. All right. Are you done talking?
No,
or are
I'm just
you
seeing
just
what
reading
people are saying.
Because like I said, I just came on today because we needed to come on today.
Yeah.
To have something that I didn't really have anything in particular to talk about.
Yeah. Rick Astley, greatest of all time. Yeah.
He had other hits, didn't he?
Yeah, and he is a good guy. He's real. He walked away from show business. He got so big he just couldn't handle it, and he wanted to be a father to his kids, so he just kind of left. But he's been doing stuff recently. He had several hits.
I thought he did.
Yeah,
because I mean that was like his biggest hit, but I'm sure he had at least a couple more in the U.S. You know what I mean? And yeah. I kind of feel like, in a way, the fame that he achieved, that's kind of a double-edged sword, because I do feel like, I don't know, like he was really famous at the time, like back then, and then everyone kind of forgot about him, and then the internet came along, and then Rickrolling became a thing, and then he became like a meme.
Yeah,
and then I feel like he became like so much more famous than he was back then, that it's like, could he even fucking go anywhere anymore without everybody being like, hey, we're being Rickrolled, except like in person, because there he is.
Rickrolls people. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they'll show an event,
okay, that right.
and they'll hire him to Rickroll the event. They had a fucking, no, he loves Rickrolling. He understands it. He understands it.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you very much. He understands Rickrolling. He thinks it's hilarious. And he said it was also kind of a thing of luck, that it would have been somebody.
Yeah.
It was just
happened
to be him. So they'll hire him to Rickroll an event. They had one where, had some floats going down one of these parades. I can't remember which parade it was.
Yeah, he said he's DJ Mannix is Rickrolled the Macy's parade.
Yeah, Macy's parade. And all of a sudden, the Macy's parade stopped, and he jumped out and started singing that song.
Does he look the same?
Yeah, pretty kinda.
Yeah,
kinda.
Like he's recognizable.
He's a man, kind of. His voice is totally recognizable.
Yeah,
sounds just like that. But he'll.
See, I didn't know.
They hired him to Rickroll all kinds of events. He'll Rickroll other concerts, like a show. Whoa! I thought that thing was falling, but it was actually thunder.
It's thunder.
Holy cat went running. I thought
she's like, oh shit!
I thought that weight was falling on her.
Aw, poor Pookie.
Yeah. Certain bands will have him as a guest, and they will have him Rickroll the audience. So they're playing, all of a sudden that shit stops, and he comes out and sings. Never gonna. What's it called? Never gonna
give you up.
Never gonna give you up. Yeah.
Now. How did it happen that it was that song in particular? Was it just like random?
It was on the internet. Somebody came up with something called duck rolling.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah.
Duck rolling. Okay. Duck rolling was some kind of program that would replace egg with the word duck. And somebody said egg roll, but it came out duck roll. And then they started making a meme about duck rolling. And then they flipped it around. They turned duck rolling into Rick rolling. Because when you press to the link, instead of it going to a duck roll, fucking that song would come on, and then that started becoming Rick rolling. It evolved into that.
Yeah,
Rick rolling.
Graham Townsend says, "I'd rather have a sausage roll." Yeah, I don't blame you. Sausage rolls. Those are pretty good. All right.
Yeah, so you guys got any questions or anything for us? We're probably gonna get off here.
Somebody sent $2 and said, will Maxwell come to trial? I think it said. Did you see that?
Oh, well, shit, man.
On that little blue box.
You're trying to get Nostradamus to predict?
Well, yeah, that's what they sent a donation to get Nostradamus's predictions.
I don't have enough information at this point. It depends on where she's being held and what kind of bodyguards she has. If she was given some real fucking good private bodyguards, I wouldn't trust any government bodyguard. If she had some good private bodyguards and they had her under proper surveillance, maybe they could keep her alive. I have a feeling she's not in a prison. I think she's in a house somewhere, and in good, in really nice conditions. So I think she's probably got like an ankle bracelet on. Probably a bunch of private guards. She's probably talking, and they're recording it. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's a very few investigators involved. That way, there's no leaks. Because they wouldn't want the subjects or the people that they're talking about to find out what information she's given up. So she's probably given up information. It's just that only a very few people know what that information is. I have a weird feeling we will never know much about this case. I just that's my first hunch. I think a lot of this shit's going to be buried because a bunch of names are going to come up and it's going to be a long process of bringing all these dudes to trial and to charge all these people and to get them to all roll over on one another. I think it'll take a good 10 years to fucking unravel all that. You have some people that are thinking, oh, they're going to figure this out in weeks and there's going to be indictments coming down and all these people locked up and this is going to help Trump win the election. No. This shit's going to take years and years and years.
Well, everything like that always takes years. It's never like an easy.
Yeah, and that's not what it's going to be. And most of that shit we will probably never find out about. It'll be something kind of like the JFK assassination, where we know something happened, but
where people are still talking about it.
Yeah, something happened. We'll never really know. It's bad shit. I'll tell you that though. Sex cults. See, there's that Nexium sex cult too.
Sex cult.
Remember that?
Yeah, we did a show about it.
And
it's like Scientology, except with a sex cult.
Now this Child Island, and Child Island man, and everything that's come out about this, and then the pictures Ghislaine Maxwell put up of herself. She's reading a book that has to do with CIA spies. So there's all these signals that she put out while she was kind of on the run, if she was on the run. I'm not sure she was on the run. I think she was talking for a long time. I think this is part of an act. This is part of the intel community. Could be that Child Island man who did not kill himself or who did not take his own life. Could be that he was kind of like a private contractor for multiple intelligence agencies where they would pay him for information and they could buy dirt off of him because evidently that Child Island was fucking rigged with a bunch of cameras. In order to join his little fucking mafia, you had to have sex with those beautiful young girls and get that on tape. And that was assurance that you wouldn't betray them. It was like an oath of loyalty because they had this dirt on you. And if you wanted to make a lot of money, that's how you joined that gang. Wouldn't surprise me if fucking, there's lots of them. That Nexium might have been one of them. There's probably other ones we don't know about.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. See, used to be back in the day, the CIA and intelligence agencies, what they would do is if they could get you on they would put cameras inside of brothels that they would run, and you'd have sex with these hookers in there, and then they'd approach you and they say, we're going to tell your wife that you were screwing her if you don't do what we say. That's where this started. But that doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? Even for a while they were doing it like, we know you're gay. They ran all the gay clubs. See? So they'd get pictures of powerful guys and says, we're going to tell everybody you're gay if you don't do what we say. That doesn't work anymore. So what you have to do now to get to control somebody, it's got to be something involving children. That's why it went that far. Because just society changed. It has to be taboo, Adultery and gay stuff isn't taboo anymore. So it has to be pedophilia. That's why it went that way. And it may be even worse. I mean, it's rumored that what do they do with these kids? They kill these kids when they're done with them? The German authorities were giving out little kids to pedophiles. There's a big riot in Germany over this. They've been doing it for 40 or 50 years, basically kind of like selling orphans to known pedophiles. And they thought that was some kind of loving relationship. It'd be fine, blah, 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 blah. That's what they were convincing themselves. But I think it had more to do with money. Well, it makes you wonder, kids were disappeared from Eastern Europe and disaster zones, and they were evacuated places by the UN, and children came up missing. some children came up missing in what was that, Jamaica? Or where was that recently? Might have been one of those islands out there. Was it Puerto Rico? I forgot. But there's one of those islands that had a big hurricane hit it. And some kind of a child rescue center took the kids and never brought them back. The parents still want them back. And they were saying that Hillary Clinton was to blame. That's the last I heard. It was, even though she didn't do it, but in some way she was like involved with that, kind of like a rescue. You know, I don't remember exactly how it was. I don't know enough about it. But, you know, are they selling kids? And why? Sex slaves? The internal organs? What is it they want? There's a bunch of shit going on in China. You know what I mean? Fucking rich people can get internal organs from China. It's probably coming out of those Uyghurs in those concentration camps and prisoners. You know, it's bad shit going on. They're trying to keep it quiet.
Well, we had a couple questions. I wanted to get to them before they leave. Somebody asked, have you guys talked about the Golden State Killer and his plea deal? I don't remember if thank you, Mango Badger.
Thank you.
I don't remember if we mentioned it, but he did actually, he's doing a plea deal where he's going to plead guilty to a number of cases, just, you know, so he doesn't have to go to trial and all that other kind of shit. I think we mentioned it, but I don't remember if we did. So if we didn't, I just did mention it. Alex Rivera asked, can you guys explain what drew you to goth music? I'm curious, what about the sound interested you as opposed to the fashion and the broader culture? That's actually a really good question. Let's see. I'm not sure what it was about the sound in particular. When I was a kid, I guess most of the music that I liked, like, because like I said, my dad was really into like a lot of 60s stuff. He liked the Doors and the Beatles and everything. And so I started listening to that when I was really young. And I was always just really attracted to stuff that sounded kind of dark, or, you know what I mean? That was like kind of sad or like kind of like ominous sounding. There's just something about that sound that I always really liked. So when I got a little bit older and started hearing, you know, sort of like gothy type stuff in the early 80s, I was immediately like on board with that, because that was just, to me, it just seemed like an extension of like, you know, creepy shit like the Doors, like the Doors kind of stuff and all that. So, you know, that's probably why I guess it's like some kind of weird genetic thing. I'm just like really attracted to ominous sounding music, I guess.
I started off listening to early metal.
Yeah.
You know, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, stuff from like, you know, the very early 80s. And then as the 80s progressed, well, I also listened to punk rock though too. I liked punk rock. You listen to like Exploited and fucking Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys. But most of what I listened to is metal. But as metal went on, you know, especially towards around 86, 87, it started to get very commercial and very female oriented with like Bon Jovi and some of the newer kind of like
all the hair metal,
hair metal. And I just it was getting away from its roots. Well, I found Sisters of Mercy and Bauhaus, and that sent me down more the goth direction. Started finding like, you know, Cure albums and Susie, and it was more honest. It wasn't commercial. I liked it. Billy Idol, even though that was commercial, it still kind of had that goth punk kind of with a rock flavor to it. Started to appreciate more of like, you know, Duran Duran and U2 and The Cure.
I liked that the early, I mean, particularly probably if I had to pick a favorite genre, I guess it would probably be post-punk, just because
that's good too.
Well, because it embodies like such a huge, I mean, I think people forget, like you had punk rock, which I really, really like, but
you know, Joy Division and stuff.
But I mean, punk had such a, like a specific sound to it. And I think like, if you listen to enough of it, it kind of got samey. But after, you know, punk kind of died down, then you got like all these bands like just doing all this different shit and like just getting influences from everywhere, from like all different kinds of music and, you know, even other like, you know, other things like theater and shit like that. And so I think that it was a lot more creative.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it wasn't just the sound either. It was also just the fucking subject matter.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of metal, particularly when it started going in the hair metal direction,
oh man,
I didn't really like that it was just all, like DJ Maiden says butt rock, where it was just kind of like, it was about talking about how awesome they were all the time.
Yeah,
and
or it was about really girls
tiresome.
and girls and booze and cherry pie and shit. Fucking, it's just really, really superficial, really, really commercial.
Yeah.
Dumbs down shit.
That's what I mean. It's like, really that's kind of why, because that was like when I was in junior high and stuff, and I was like into new wave and everything. That was like what dumb jocks listen to.
Yeah, it's just super dumbed down.
Because everything was just like, tits.
Yeah.
Tits.
That's the way they were. The songs,
I know.
The fucking, the content of the music, the subject matter, actually was very much kind of like 50s rock and roll, which is very, very superficial.
Cars, girls.
Boy to meet girl.
Yeah.
Boy to meet girl. That was it.
Yeah.
Nothing to it. So it was very much like 50s rock.
Yeah.
Different take on it. And then some of the guys, like fucking Anvil and fucking Manowar and shit like that.
Anvil.
They would try to, they were taking fucking hyper masculinity to new levels where they're fucking singing songs about Mothra and Godzilla and shit, and blowing you up with a submarine. Just that's
it was just like something like a 5-year-old.
Something like a 5-year-old. It's like, we're in a submarine. We're shooting.
Godzilla's gonna beat up you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Anvil were fucking funny, man.
Fuck, man. But it wasn't meant to be funny.
I know, but that's what like I have never felt like such a roller coaster of emotions as I felt like when we watched that documentary. We have to watch that again because like I felt like I wanted to laugh at them, but then I felt so sorry for them that I felt like an asshole for laughing at them, like for not because they were just so like not self-aware.
The funny thing about Anvil is that Anvil was not that different from the other bands that were making it. It's just that if you get it just wrong, just slightly wrong, it becomes extremely cringy.
Yeah.
More cringy than the competition.
Right.
And the competition was kind of cringy.
Yeah.
Okay. I can go back and go listen to like a Black Sabbath album that had Ronnie James Dio singing on it. That guy could sing like fucking crazy. And his lyrics are really good until you really paid attention to him. Yeah. He was like the Deepak Chopra of metal.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. Where he would fucking say some wizardly shit and it contradicted itself. It sounded like he said some serious shit, but he didn't. He didn't say anything, Like the outside is the inside in the never that always is. See, I just made that shit up off the top of my head. And that's some shit Ronnie James Dio. He'd put that in the song.
When you're 15 and smoking dope, and
you're like,
man. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. So it was fucking, I can go back and listen to it and fucking enjoy it, but go, that's some cringy lyrics.
Yeah.
It's like something out of Tenacious D.
Yeah.
That movie Tenacious D, which I love that movie. It's like that.
They were fun though. It's like, and I liked like the older metal, like you said. I liked Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and stuff like that. I mean, it's like I said, it's not my favorite because, like I said, even some of the lyrics are kind of cringy. But now you take that shit, that fucking cringe, Man of War, fucking Anvil, all right, Ronnie James Dio. You compare those lyrics to like the lyrics off of Citrus of Mercy, First and Last and Always. Yeah, there's just no comparison. There's really not.
Even fucking Andrew Eldritch could not top those lyrics. Again, that was it. That was one of the best albums of all times. First and Last and Always.
Well, like I said, I think that
a lot of it had to do with the lyrics and the tone.
Yeah, and I think what attracted me to it was that it's you know what I mean? The lyrics were a lot more intelligent. They were a lot more, they made like a lot of references, like literary references and cultural references and stuff like that, which, some of the other music didn't make. So, I can see why it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, obviously, but that's probably one of the reasons that I related so much to it.
Yeah, he said Iron Maiden is just as silly. Iron Maiden is silly. Iron Maiden, every song is a topic and it's always about a book or some shit that happened in history. And fucking Iron Maiden, even though I love Iron Maiden, let's put it this way. I love Iron Maiden's like first 4 or 5 albums. But Iron Maiden is fucking thinks it's your history professor.
Yeah.
and it's always high school history.
Yeah.
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 DJ Maniac says, we have a song called Phantom of the Opera. It's about the Phantom of the Opera.
Right, yeah. They had a song called Genghis Khan. It's about Genghis Khan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like they weren't real big on subtlety or or anything like that.
Got a song called Aces High. It's about aces that fly. And they're real high. Battle of Britain. Okay, yeah, all right. Had a song called Where Eagles Dare. It's about a movie called Where Eagles Dare.
I know, everything's just very literal. It's just one-to-one.
Yeah.
Which I think, like I said, that's what bothered me. But and like I said, Anvil was doing that too. Like they were legitimately writing songs about Mothra, and it was about Mothra.
But when you put Anvil next to Iron Maiden outclassed Anvil. So it just goes to show you that just a slight change in that, you really fall on your fucking face. Yeah,
there's a really like thin window of like awesomeness in there, and it's like very easy to like kind of fall on the other side.
Maiden was a band of its time.
The Misfits did the same damn. I was just about to say that exact thing. Like they basically I like the Misfits, but they did actually just write songs about look, we found this like cheesy like 50s movie, and they just kind of wrote a song about what happened in it, and they called it the same thing as the movie.
But I revisited Iron Maiden a couple months back. And I still like the first two albums with Paul Di'Anno the best, I think. And then the ones with fucking Bruce Dickinson, I think I still like Peace of Mind the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't like Numbers of the Beast. Every one of those songs is like filler on it. The only song that really kind of fucking stood the test of time on Number of the Beast, even though every song on it's kind of good, but it's in a way it's kind of like commercial filler. Hallowed Be Thy Name is still the best song on that one.
Yeah.
Some might say fucking Power Slave, but I don't know. Peace of Mind still kind of had this gothic metal kind of underground feel to it for a while. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm going to say maybe fucking their best album is Killers, which had Paul Di'Anno on it. That album still is fucking really good. It's fucking...
Yeah, I hear it like blasted out of the bedroom
that's
sometimes. Still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, as far as lyrics go, you can't really. I don't know. I like impressionistic lyrics. I don't like lyrics that are too like on the nose. I like ones that are kind of more poetic and are open to interpretation.
Yeah.
As opposed to ones that are just like, hey, I'm watching a movie about a giant monster and it's doing this and that and the other thing. You know what I mean?
All right. Is there anything else, guys?
Maiden live shows are full of that, guys. No, I kind of laughed at what because DJ Maniac said we have a song called Phantom of the Opera about Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. Mango Badger says, "What's Murders in the Rue Morgue about then?" Huh?
Yeah, right.
And then DJ Maniac says about 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought I had to say that because that exchange like made me laugh.
I mean, I don't know if you guys fucking agree with me or not. I think we're going to talk about Iron Maiden. out of Iron Maiden's catalog, I still think Killers is the best one. Yeah. I mean, maybe not so much technically in terms of like musical technicality, but just in terms of like tone, I think Killers is still the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Iron Maiden to like agree or disagree with you. That
was their second one.
So I'm just going to acquiesce to your opinion on that.
Everyone shows up at a Maiden show wearing a Maiden shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
What was... God damn it. Wasn't that Kids in the Hall? I think it was Kids in the Hall. I can't remember now. Because I remember when I was in high school, that was the rule. You went to a show, you weren't allowed to wear the shirt of that band at that show. And it's like if somebody did that, like if you were going to pick up your friends to go to the show and they had the shirt and they're like, don't be that guy. Go change your shirt right now. We're not being with you.
Another one that kind of over time I thought made a lot of mistakes was Judas Priest. Their last good album, if you ask me, I mean, guys are going to disagree with me, but I think their last good album was Defenders of the Faith, really. And I liked their 70s stuff better, like Sin After Sin and Sad Wings of Destiny. Maybe like Stained Class, you know. But I think that was their best albums. Well, I don't know. Screaming for Vengeance was a pretty fucking good album, but as it went on, you know, with fucking Turbo, I think Turbo was fucking not a very good album, and it just seemed to get worse and worse. And then people liked that Painkiller album, and it never really impressed me that much. And, even though I like Rob Halford, you know.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he always seemed like a cool dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from PCO. Oh, it's from PCO. Okay. I knew I had seen it somewhere. The thing about don't be that guy, about wearing the shirt to the... I knew I had seen it somewhere. For some reason, I thought it was Kids in the Hall. I don't know why. I guess because I was kind of in high school or a little bit after high school, and we were always like making that joke about people wanting to wear the fucking shirts. Even if you bought the shirt at the show, you weren't allowed to put it on until later, like next day. Because I'm like, don't be such a dork. Yeah. Now, you were allowed, if you went to see, like, for example, if you went to see like Peter Murphy, you could wear like 11 Rockets shirt. That was allowed, but you couldn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Although he probably would have got mad if he saw you wearing the 11 Rockets.
Peter Murphy's an asshole. He's a fucking asshole.
He was kind of an asshole.
Yeah. He's good live, but
he is, yeah. I've seen him like a zillion times.
He's losing his mind. He's got serious drug problems. He's deteriorating rapidly. Fucking throwing bottles at the crowd and getting kicked out of his own fucking shows and shit.
Yeah, that was special.
Yeah, fucking hit and run. Having hit and run accidents, and fucking drugs are a hell of a drug.
That's what I said.
Yeah, he's a meth head. Just fucking burning him up.
Which is a shame, because it's like, I thought he was going to go like the more dignified Bowie route, but I guess that's not in the cards.
Fucking Bowie outclassed his ass so much. And Bowie held himself together. I mean, he looked good till the day he died.
That's what I'm saying.
Even with all that fucking cancer in him, he looked good. Fucking Murphy's falling apart.
And it sucks because he's not that old.
Not that old, but he looks old.
Yeah, he does.
Looks old, looks very fucking, head's fucking all weazened up, fucking his hair all falling out, pot bellied, fucking, when he was young, he was very skeletal, you know, and you can get away with that for a while. But as you get older, you're just not producing the right kind of hormones by not eating, and you start fucking getting real pot bellied and funny looking. The only way to fucking hold yourself together is fucking exercising.
Pot bellied?
Yeah, and he wouldn't exercise, so you cannot replicate that skinny, emaciated, fucking heroin 16-year-old look that he wanted to have.
Yeah, because
you can't do that at 50.
He was super hot back in the day.
Yeah, and you can't do that in the 50s. You can't do that in your 50s.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it. Well, I'm sure. I'm not going to say anybody.
You only got two choices. You're going to get fat, or you're going to have to get muscular. One of the two, because you got to start regulating your hormones, man.
Hormone regulation. That's where it's at.
Yeah. You can't regulate hormones without fucking doing anything. You can't just sit there
and do meth. Pro tip.
It'll fucking destroy all your fucking testosterone. Probably fuck up even your estrogen balance, and then it'll fucking do weird shit to your progesterones and shit. Progesterones. Then it'll fuck up your saline and next to your electrolytes. You got to do this shit, man.
And your preservatives. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever else is in there. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
It's just, you're either fucking growing or you're shrinking. It's one of the two once you get into your 50s.
Yeah. I want to shrink down to Smurf size.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll live long enough to do that.
Well, let's go ahead and shut it down.
Yeah, I can't believe we've been going for an hour, and I was sitting there going, I don't even know what the fuck we're going to talk about. See, that never works. All right. So thanks you guys for dropping by today. We'll probably go on a little bit tomorrow too. If I can find a new movie tonight, we can review a new movie tomorrow. So I'll make that my mission for this evening. So we will talk to you guys again tomorrow.
Saying I'm looking a little fat lady. Yeah, I'm looking a little fat lady lately. Yeah.
A little fat lady.
You look like a little fat lady.
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, shit.